Holy crikey, it's starting to convert. Look at that. See how it's turning black? All that black is the rust conversion. Okay, now that's the rust doctor. Now that's the camera I was shooting with, my dash cam. So you're gonna see the footage, but it's not gonna be the quality of this one right here or the sound. But I did go ahead and this is gonna be the prequel to that video right there of how I did it. But I just sanded it. I had 80 grit sandpaper is what I had. Sanded it with the 80 grit. Well, I degreased it first. Degreased it, sanded it with the 80 grit. The 80 grit didn't get into the pits, so I used a stainless steel wire brush to get into the pits. Then I blew it off, degreased it again, and then I put the rust doctor. Now the rust doctor is converting everything black, so I can recoat it again in an hour. But if you're just watching this video on how I'm sealing the rust with the rust doctor, I'm going to show you what I did. It's been probably about 2 or 3 weeks now with the rust doctor. Let me get my ladder out the way. And my track on the Astro van and the wheel well was rusted out. See? I converted that 2 or 3 weeks ago. It still got, I didn't re-sand it again. But you see, it converted to black, all the rust. It converted to black about 2 or 3 weeks ago underneath here also. So what I wanted to do was resand it, put a little bit of fiberglass or body filler, and then paint it. I got Duplicolor. So that's what I was going to do with, I got a bubble there. I probably popped the bubble to see what's underneath that bubble. But I did a video of how I patched that up. I mean, it was a crater in there. Well, that's what I was going to show you also. My track down there was all rusted out. See how that's black converted? I degreased it and converted it, and in there was all rusted again because I never finished it up, and it converted that. So that's like 2 or 3 weeks now. I bought the Duplicolor, and I was actually going to paint that part of it with Duplicolor and try to fade it back. But I'm thinking about just leaving that like that for you people so we can see if the rust doctor will work. But in the same, it's not fair to the rust doctor because the gloss coat is what gives you your UV protection and protection from the weather. So it's already middle of November, so I don't know if I'm gonna have time, but if not, I know I could just cut it all off again and refiberglass it. But I wanted to show you what the rust doctor did on the top. I'm gonna put another coat, and by tomorrow it does a latex primer. Originally started out with because I caulked a bead of caulk on the leaky windshield up here, and I've been getting water back in the van again. So I got up there because I was going to reseal that bead again, and then I noticed the big rust spots on the roof. So I'm thinking maybe it's the rust spots that are leaking. So wound up redoing the rust spots. But tomorrow or the day after, I'm probably going to redo that bead again. I'm probably not going to take the bead off. I'm probably going to clean it really good, degrease it, and then put a little bit thicker bead of caulk across the top. You can see I lined it really good, so you can't really tell. But what I've been doing is I've been going to the pressure washers at the, I'm so short that I can't get the top of the van, so lazily I go to the pressure washers. Well, apparently, a little bit of water got underneath there and started rusting it 3 spots. So that's where all that came from. Either way, yeah, I love you watching. Subscribe, like, share. I try to teach you everything I'm doing. This rust doctor is $70 a quart. Well, for the kit, the degreaser and the other kit, use it sparingly, but I'm satisfied with what it's been doing, although I've only had it on for like 2 or 3 weeks. That's why I rust doctored the top. I'm probably going to sand it. I don't know if I'm going to body fill it or just Duplicolor and gloss and then go from there. Because, I mean, honestly, I can't see the top of the van. Other people probably can. But, and like I said, if I get enough followers, like, what was that, PewDiePie, and make $1 million, believe it or not, I don't want a brand new car. I want my van redone. Alright, either way, I'll be back with you probably tomorrow. There'll be part 2. This is done right here. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye. What's going on, everybody? Rob here, jack of all trades, master of none. Sorry about the piss poor quality. I'm using my dash cam. My other phone's not charged right now. Not my phone, my other camera. The problem I was having was on a lot of these Astro vans, you get a leaky windshield. Well, I did a video and I sealed my windshield with silicone. I used acrylic latex, and there's a video of sealing your windshield or leaky Astro van windshield that I did before, and I came up here to look at it and it's still sealed really good, like it's not leaking in there. So further review, I came up a little higher, and I actually have a rust spot back in there. There's a rust spot right up there, a small one, and another one forming back there. So what this is going to turn into, this don't look bad. I probably will reseal this, but I'll go ahead and reseal that on Sunday when I have more time. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to degrease the little rust spots, and I'm going to put the rust converter, the rust doctor on it. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do here is I got this from Eastwood. Rust Doctor says do not, let me see the show you the Rust Doctor. This is Rust Doctor. It says do not use chemical based stuff. The other one I used wasn't chemical based. I bought the Rust Doctor and it actually worked really good, but I'm short on time. Now if you're going to look at this, this is all going to get chipped up anyways, but when you're sanding or grinding, before you even sand or grind, you degrease the whole damn thing. See it coming apart right there? You see the hole? It's getting bigger and bigger. It's going to get way bigger than that. But you degrease the whole thing that you're going to be working on, because if there's any wax in there, that wax is going to get caught up when you're on the metal, and it'll give you fish eyes. Now there's 3 spots on this, so I'm going to do all of them step by step, where I'm going to degrease it first. I'm going to degrease all 3 spots first, and then I'm going to rust doctor all 3 spots at the same time. So I'm going to go degrease the other ones right now. Now I got an 80 grit disc on here, but I'm not going to do it flat because I don't want this big space. I'm going to do it on an angle because this is what I want to break up, just this little part right here. I want to stop the rust right now from going through and seal it. I'll use the fiberglass on it and everything else when I have more time. Now I'm going to fill up my compressor to blow off the top of the roof, but you can see I sanded it down with the sander, and it was a lot bigger space than what was actually it looked like. But this may not be the culprit because there's no holes all the way through. I mean, it's thin, but there's no holes all the way through. But I'm glad I noticed this because I'm going to put the rust doctor on this today, and I'll seal it tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and sand like this on the other 2 spots, and then we'll get the rust doctor on that. Believe it or not, right here I'm going to see the sandpaper didn't get out in all the little grooves, so I'm going to go get the wire brush, and I'm going to go in there, but I'm going to do this to the other 2 spots also. Alright, this right here is probably going to make body mechanics squeal, but the reason why I'm doing this is because the sanding disc didn't get the rust that's in the little pitted holes because it's already pitting. So after I do this, I'm going to resand it with the 80 grit. Alright, now this is what I would normally do next, the glass filler, after I cleaned it with vinegar and water. But now that I got this rust doctor, I'm going to put the rust doctor on first. But I'm going to get the blower, blow it off really good with the air. Then you got to degrease it, then you got to put the rust doctor on it. Alright, because I want the best and proper adhesion, I'm going to use the grease doctor. And what I do with the grease doctor is I mix it. I got some pre-mixed already because this crap's expensive. So I got some pre-mixed and I leave it in an extra can. And you got to use a red scrubby pad to get all the grease off. Now why didn't I use pre? Because I used the grease doctor kit on the inside jam of my van. And let me tell you this, the inside jam held up really good. So I'm going to clean all 3 spots with this really good, and then I'm going to put the rust doctor on. Now I haven't sanded the rust doctor yet and fiberglassed over it or whatever, but apparently it gives a latex primer that you could paint right over. So but on this right here, this hole right here, I probably will fiberglass it, then bondo it and do everything proper. It's just right now I don't got the time to do it. So I'm going to do this, make sure everything is degreased and everything to all 3, and I'll be right back with you. I'm back again. I'm so very sorry for the quality of this video right here. I'm using my dash cam because my other camera, the battery died out. But with the rust doctor here, this stuff is expensive, really expensive. So what's the best thing to do, you gotta shake it up really good and only pour in what you're going to use. That's the best I can say, is only pour in what you're going to use, because this stuff is expensive. Okay, so I just got a little bit in there, and then all you do is dab over the top of it, and within an hour you could second coat it, but it dries. Like all the exposed metal, go ahead and make sure you go from one end of the paint to the other end of the paint. Get all that in there, because it'll put a primer over it, and the primer won't allow the rust to set in on what you sanded. Now, primer really has no it don't protect from the UV rays or nothing like that, so eventually you will have to coat it. But for right now, just make sure you get from end to end. Like I said, this works really good, but I haven't seen it for a whole year in the Chicago winter yet, unprotected. Okay, so that's done right there. All I gotta do is put a second coat on that, and that's gonna be good. Now I got just a little bit in here, enough to do the other two spots. Then I'm gonna let it set for an hour and then second coat it, and then that's all I'm gonna leave for right now. Sunday I'm off and Friday I'm off, so I could go ahead and, if I want to sand it and fiberglass it, I could sand it and, you know, fiberglass it and sand it down and everything on Friday or Saturday. So stay tuned for the video, but I'll show you the conversion in about an hour. Sand it down, you see you got the primer edge, the metal, and then your paint. Cover everything. You see it's turning black already. It's already turning black. That is awesome. Crazy, huh? But this right here, you could paint over it with duplicolor and gloss it. It's the top of my van. I really don't got to fiberglass it. I could just actually paint over this with duplicolor, and it should be good to go. So we'll see what I'm gonna do. I want to get the whole van done. It's just I didn't want to do it right now. Alright, thinking about it, what I'm going to do, I put the rust doctor up there already, and what I'm probably gonna do is actually go over it with see, it converted everything really good. What I'm probably gonna do is go over with fillable sandable primer. I'll sand it even, fillable primeable sander, sand it even again, do 2 coats of duplicolor, 2 coats of gloss, and that's what I'm gonna do, and that should last forever. And since I had some extra that was rusting in there, like I said, the stuff's expensive, so when I have it in the little cup on the sponge, I put it over wherever I want it done. I've done these already. Those are ready to be touched up. I gotta take the light off and do in there a little bit better. Either way, that's what I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and sand it down. You know, I got the swirls from the brush. I'm gonna sand that down. I know I finished with 380, so I sanded. I'm not gonna go all the way back down to 40 grit or nothing like that. I'll probably actually sand it with 380 to see if I could get those lines down even. Then fillable sandable primer, I'll maybe do that with 220 and 380, and then I'm gonna top coat it with make it a little bit wider, and then top coat it with duplicolor perfect mesh that I have for the van, and then 2 coats of that, and then 2 coats of gloss. I'm not gonna do the 1000 grit, 1500 grit, nothing like that. It's the top of the van, but I do want to be fair and coat it with the gloss. Make sure I get it to the gloss stage, because that's what protects it from the UV, and that's gonna get all the weather in the winter and everything. Either way, that's my video for today. Sorry about the footage on the other camera. It's normally not how it is, but it's what I had to work with today. Alright, talk to you later. Bye bye.